This review video is to help you prepare for the Stearns test, chapters 3 through 6. And so the first one focuses on ancient China, the first question on the review sheet. And it asks us to describe some of the highlights of the Zhou, the Qin, and the Han dynasties. So one of the things you want to keep in mind is that the Zhou was the first real dynasty in China, and it is where Confucianism actually gets started. And at the end, there was a lot of warfare in China, and China goes into a period of time known as the Warring States for several hundred years until the Qin dynasty is created. The Qin dynasty was very strict. They embraced legalism, and this is when most of the Great Wall of China was built. What you can say about the Qin dynasty is that it was very short-lived but extremely influential. It only lasts 30 years or so. The Han came into power right after this, and they were more tolerant, so to say, than the Qin. They primarily embraced Confucianism. So where legalism viewed all humans as naturally evil, Confucianism looks at humans more as naturally good, and that you just need to encourage people to do the right thing, be respectful of their elders, follow the government leaders, things like that. The Han is the period of time in China that's really seen as the golden age of China. This is where you get the bureaucratic exams, a lot of the technological advancements. You need to be familiar with those. And but one of the things to notice is that the end of the Han was also a period marked by warfare. Number two is looking at legalism, Confucianism, Taoism, which were the predominant philosophies / religions in ancient China. Again, legalism was embraced by the Qin. It believed that all people are evil, so you need to have really strict rules to control them. Confucianism, mainly the Han embraced Confucianism, bureaucratic exams, respect for elders. It really helped structure society. Taoism is all about balance. It draws from the world. There's a focus on meditation. It's very much more mystical than Confucianism and legalism. The Mauryan and the Gupta empires in India, this is question number 3. The Aryans came in and they set up a caste system. Remember, the Aryans are not originally from India. These are an Indo-European group of people that migrate into India. They set up the caste system, which helped structure society, and it was way more strict than any of the other social structures that we see at this time. The Mauryan were founded by Chandragupta. His grandson Ashoka embraced Buddhism. Chandragupta commanded a large army and controlled a lot of land. The Mauryans were larger in land size than the Guptas. In the Gupta, one of the things to focus on, not just the fact that they created the number 0, but you want to be familiar with the rights of women and how much they lost when the Guptas came to power. Be familiar with sati. That's one of the chief things that shows us that. Number 4 is talking about Hinduism and Buddhism, the chief religions that come out of India. Hinduism really evolves out of the Vedic age in India, where most of the teachings come from the Rig Veda, and the Brahmins are controlling that. It's a polytheistic faith. Be familiar with the gods Vishnu and Shiva. Know the differences, be able to identify images of them. And Hinduism is almost a response to the growing popularity of Jainism and Buddhism in India, because the Brahmin are feeling that their power is being threatened. Buddhism is about the Four Noble Truths. Be familiar with that. Be familiar with the Eightfold Path. And know that Buddhism brings some opportunities for women in India, opportunities outside of the home. Buddhism appeals to the lower classes, much like Christianity is going to. Buddhism and Hinduism are both religions spread along trade routes. Question number 5 is all about Persia and the extent of Persia's power. At the height of the Persian Empire, they expanded into Eastern Europe. They spread down into the west through Egypt, into Libya, and as far east as India. The Hellenistic culture for number 6. Basically, this is Greek culture that's being blended with other cultures. The height of this is during Alexander the Great's reign, which was also short but influential, much like the Qin, you could say. And some of the Greek culture are things like the Olympics, drama, poetry. This is basically Hellenism is the spread of Greek culture, but it's blending with other cultures along the way as they spread through Egypt, as they spread into India. Now, number 8 is about Pericles, and number 7. What are the lasting achievements of Pericles? Pericles was the leader of Athens during the 5th century BCE. He extended democracy to all free males, and he oversaw the rebuilding of key parts of Athens after the Persian War. That's just mentioning a couple things. There's a lot more about Pericles. Check the book for that. Number 8, an overview of the Greek philosophers. So Socrates comes along and begins questioning the religious order that was established in ancient Greece, how these polytheistic gods were created to explain natural phenomena. He is accused of perverting the youth, their minds, and he is killed. He chooses death by suicide, poison hemlock. One of his main students, Plato, wanted to carry on his teaching, so he began recording a lot of the things that Socrates had said in his lifetime. Plato founded a school called the Academy, and a lot of great thinkers come out of that during this time period. One of the chief ones is Aristotle. Aristotle is probably most famously known for being Alexander the Great's tutor. He also created, I think we listed like 9 different topics or subjects that he focused on, and they all focused on reason, wanting to think using reason. Be familiar with Stoicism, and this is a Greek philosophy which focused on personal discipline during the time period. Who was Hannibal? He is, just to sum it up in a sentence, the leader of Carthage and one of the main enemies of the Roman Republic. Be familiar with the Punic Wars. Go through the notes, look at that. Number 10, describe the transition of Rome from a republic to an empire. Mainly what was happening is that people were afraid that Caesar was gaining too much power, and they kill him. A civil war breaks out. He's killed by the Senate, and his grandnephew, Octavian Augustus, overcomes in the civil war that precedes his death, and I guess precede would be after that. It comes after his death. Mainly it's Octavian Augustus and Mark Antony vying for power, and Octavian Augustus comes out on top and creates a new form of government in Rome, and we call it the Roman Empire. And he becomes the first emperor of Rome, and that continues for several hundred years. Number 11, what were the 12 tables? This is Roman law, written around 450 BCE. Is when it's established. So very early on in the Roman Republic. Remember, they switched to an empire around 24 BCE, just before the year 0 or so. The Roman law is seen as somewhat flexible, and also the 12 tables give us the concept of innocent until proven guilty. Number 12, what were the Mesoamerican pyramids used for? Religious purposes. 13, why did Rome fall? Several reasons. It's really hard to pinpoint the exact fall of the Roman Empire because of the Diocletian split. Some people argue that the Roman Empire continued on through the Byzantines for another 1,000 years. But if you want to talk about Rome, the Roman Empire as we know it at the height during the golden age of Pax Romana, what really starts to happen to the Roman Empire is there's internal conflicts. They got way too big, became just too vast of a land size to control. Therefore, outside attack is happening. But one of the things that Stearns argues in his book is that internal conflict, arguments over who's going to take over once one emperor dies. A lot of times there was confusion. What if the emperor's son was too weak? What if the emperor didn't have a clear heir, somebody clearly to take over the throne. It wasn't always guaranteed that. We like to think that, oh, when an emperor dies, when a king dies, somebody just takes over right after him. But a lot of times there's a lot of arguments and things like that take place. And so internal conflict was probably one of the biggest issues. And what's happening is that really there isn't another empire at this time period that is as strong as the Roman Empire. So it's not as if there's somebody who is more powerful than the Romans that overthrows them. It's internal conflicts that weakens them, and then a lot of these smaller groups are able to attack them. The Romans would refer to these people as barbarians. The Visigoths, the Huns, the Vandals, just to name a few of the groups. And lastly, number 14, what was the importance of the Council of Nicaea? This was called by Emperor Constantine in the Byzantine Empire in order to settle the issue of Christ's nature. There was an argument going on between Christians. Is Jesus Christ, is he God? Is he man? Is he both? And so Constantine embraced Christianity. The Byzantines were a Christian empire. At this point in time, Rome had converted to Christianity. And so they needed to sort out, if this is our chief religion, we need to really have a good understanding of it. And so the Council of Nicaea was a council that was established to determine the nature of Christ. And so it really sought to unify the church, to get the church on the same page. When it comes to the questions that you'll be asked, you'll be given primary sources. And so for the short answers, what you're going to need to do is there's going to be 4 total. One about the Persian, one about the Mayans, one about the Han, and one about the Roman Empire. And so you'll just need to pick the 2 that you feel that you're most prepared to write a solid response to. You're going to be asked for each of them to talk about 3 different things that will be in response to some primary sources that you'll be given. And so good luck. Hope your studying goes well. 5th period will take the test on Friday. That's this Friday. The date is October 14th. And 2nd period is scheduled to take it on October the 17th, which is Monday.